Bojo Kanoya, a Pegashim no Yayeg Bane. We here at Nipissing Nishnaabemwin believe peer review is an important process in the education process. However, due to lack of speaker accessibility, scheduling, and these lessons being produced by second language learners, we tend to make mistakes in how Nishnaabemwin is represented. We encourage you to think with a critical mind when watching our videos and question the validity of something said in the video that catches your attention. We are language learners and naturally don't know what we don't know. We don't discourage others from helping us out by educating us, and if you see a mistake you would like us to rectify, you can do so by contacting the email in the video description. We also ask for your patience in waiting for edits, because it is a long process to edit mistakes we share in our videos, and there is the possibility that it might not align with the speakers of Nipissing First Nation. Miigwech Bisinduyang, Wewe Nog Nawam Damuk.
On in Bojo Kanoya, Mr. McLeod Mondai Amina, Bajinaka Queen Monim. I just want to let you guys know that links to the dictionary, PDFs to the worksheet, audio files are in links in the description of this video, as well as any other resources that'll help you out with this lesson will eventually be there as soon as I'm done making them. Aho, miigwech.
On in Bojo, Mr. McLeod, Mondai Amina. And today's lesson is an intro to VTA morphemes. So it's an intro to root words and learning how to put words together. So a refresher. What is morphology? Morphology is the understanding of how words are formed and manipulated through the use of prefixes, suffixes, inflection, also known as conjugations, and morphemes. Morphemes are just another way of saying root words. Morphemes refer to different qualities and aspects, but as root words, they can't stand on their own as independent words. Usually. Here, I've indicated the points for you to write down in your notes. Write these down before we move on. Miskoye, Ambe. Nishnaabemwin word formations. Nishnaabemwin morphology in relation to morphemes is similar to our understanding of Latin words and how they are formed. In Latin, we understand the word arachnophobia can be broken down like so. Arachnid is a spider, phobia is a fear of. Arachnophobia, a fear of spiders. Nishnaabemwin words can be broken down in similar ways. Nishnaabemwin words are formed with either 2 to 3 morphemes, or root words. The 3 types of morphemes are called initials, medials, and finals. Initial morphemes are descriptive and adjective-like in nature, often referring to physical traits. Medial morphemes are reserved for nouns and can refer to orientation related to natural objects, something being stick-like, blanket-like, liquid-like, by hand, etc. Final morphemes determine the type of verb we are using and its ender or theme. Here I've indicated the points for you to write down in your notes. Pause the video before moving on. Miskoye, Ambe. Rules for Nishnaabemwin morphology. Here are some basic rules to introduce you to root words in Nishnaabemwin. Rule number 1, syncopation of root words. From our previous discussions on syncopation, I have reduced it to when we add suffixes to our words. This was so it wasn't overwhelming and distracting from the lessons. Syncopation happens on a smaller scale too, like from root word to root word. Rule number 1, syncopation rules for root words. Also, we have the sign up, so make sure to write these points down in your notes before moving on. Syncopation is an alternating stress pattern that changes what we de-stress depending on what our first root word is and what follows. In its most basic explanation, Nishnaabemwin syncopation is de-stressing the first short vowel that appears, maintaining the second and alternating back and forth in this pattern. For example, de-stressed, stressed, de-stressed, stressed, etc.
This is much easier to see when we look and compare what our non-syncopating cousins are doing. We'll give you a chance here to pause the video to write these down before moving on. Miskoye, ambe. When we look at the word ijenakaj, call someone a certain way, we can see all the vowels and start by de-stressing our first short vowel, stress the second, and keep alternating like that until we've run out of short vowels to de-stress. For our following examples, short vowel sounds in blue will represent weaker sounds we de-stress, and red vowel sounds will represent the stronger sounds we stress. So as vowel syncopators, our pronunciation of the word above would look like this. We can see ijenakaj with the blue short vowels representing the ones we would normally de-stress, and we can see them slowly fading here to ultimately what we would say in Nipissing or other vowel dropping dialects. Jenkaj. When we add prefixes, the pattern will start from the beginning and alternate our stressing as needed. So we'll go from inde plus ijenakaj and form indigenekaj. Indigenekaj. From here, I'll use the pattern we used earlier. De-stress, stress, de-stress, stress, etc. to highlight which vowels we are de-stressing and which ones we are stressing. So here we can see that the blue eyes will represent the weak vowel sounds we're going to de-stress, and the red eyes are going to be the short vowels we stress or maintain. Indigenekaj. From here, we can see that we're de-stressing those eyes and maintaining the red ones. And lastly, how we would say it as vowel droppers, indigenekaj. Indigenekaj. We never de-stress long sounds. When we come across those, our stress pattern restarts, and we de-stress the following short vowel sound and stress the short vowel sound after that, and etc. How would we syncopate the following? Start by de-stressing the first short vowel we see, alternate stressing if possible, and restart the pattern after long vowel sounds. So here we have ingi, inanuki, tau, igga, non. All together, ingi, inanuki, tau, igga, non. So we are highlighting the first vowel sound, the I there. Long vowel sound, short one gets dropped after it, so that's blue. Maintain the second. Alternate. We have another long vowel sound, so de-stress the following. Alternate and stress. Alternate, de-stress. And that's it for this one. So we can see here we're further de-stressing until we get what we would say rule niche, assimilation, and not that kind of assimilation. Also, don't forget we have the sign up, so make sure to write down all these points before we move on. Assimilation is when the tongue forces a particular sound based on its positioning of the next sound. For example, incompatible, everywhere form, versus imbalance becomes imbalance. The N is assimilated to an M sound because of the B that follows. Make sure to write this down before moving on. Miskoye, ambe. When a root word has a D sound, it is subjected to change based on what follows it. D plus a W sound will become a J sound. So, for example, gond plus webin will form ganj webin. D plus a B sound will also form a J sound. So, gond plus butto, ganjibto. The additional I here holds no meaning and is used purely because the root gond
ends with two consonant sounds, and the following root begins with a consonant sound. 3 consecutive consonant sounds are normally difficult to say. Make sure to write these down before moving on. Miskoye, ambe. When a root word has a D sound, it is subjected to change based on what follows it. D plus an O sound will form a Z sound. So agad plus will form gazum. D sound plus a K sound will form a Z sound as well. Gond plus cow. Gonzakau. Again, the additional I here holds no meaning and is used purely because the root word gond ends with 2 consonant sounds, and the following root begins with a consonant sound. 3 consecutive consonant sounds are normally difficult to say. Make sure to write these in your notes before we move on. Miskoye, ambe. Rule swe. When W changes to an O sound. W sounds, when followed by a vowel sound, will maintain a W sound. Minna plus anim, minwanim. W sounds followed by a consonant sound will form an O sound. Mna plus dodao becomes mnadodao. Make sure to write these in your notes before we move on. Miskoye, ambe. Rule number newin. Be aware of your noun suffix connectors. Be aware of noun suffix connectors in order to incorporate them into our verbs. If a noun has suffix connector Y, replace the Y with a double I at the end of your noun. For example, zesub has a Y suffix connector. If we were going to incorporate zesub with our final ikke, we would replace the Y suffix connector with a double I and then add the ke suffix. Zesbi ke. She or he makes or gathers ropes. If a noun has suffix connector capital W, replace the capital W with an O sound at the end of your noun. For example, cooking pot, kick, has a capital W suffix connector. So when we combine kick with ikke, we're going to replace the capital W with an O sound before adding our ke suffix. Kikoke, she or he makes or gathers cooking pots. Rule 3's W sounds changes still applied to this suffix connector, so we will incorporate the W suffix connector once it is followed by a vowel. The word I, shkijig, has a capital W suffix connector, so we're going to incorporate that W into our word. Ni shkijkwe, she or he has 2 I's. Part Bajik, VTA NM enders, feelings or thoughts towards other animate nouns. NM finals. Now we have the sign up. Make sure to write these down in your notes before we move on. NM is a complex final that is used to express your feelings or thoughts towards another animate noun. A complex morpheme is a combination of multiple morphemes combined to form an initial, medial, or final. These words will be comprised of an initial that will generally seem adjective-like and the above complex final, anim. For example, gud means shame or shy. Gud plus anim, gudanim, be ashamed of someone. Indao means search, seek, need, or want. Indao anim, indoanim, want or search for someone. Pete, certain extent, degree. Pete plus anim, pitanim, be proud of someone. Minna, good or well. Minna anim, minuanim, like or enjoy someone. Make sure to write these down before we move on. Miskoye, ambe. So again, we have the sign up. Make sure to write these down before we move on. Gik, know. Gik plus anim, canim, know someone. Ishp, that's high. Ishp plus anim, spanim, think highly of someone. Mkau, recall. Mkau plus anim, mkoanim, remember someone. Nong, meaning light in weight. Nong plus anim. Nonganim, think someone is light in weight. Nshk, anger. Nishk, anim. Nshkanim, feel angry at someone. Nisidao, recognize. Nisidao plus anim. Nsidwanim, recognize someone. Jing, dislike. Jing anim. Jinganim, hate or dislike someone. Babam, around or about. Babam plus anim. Pa menim, bother or worry for someone. Make sure to write these down before we move on. Miskoye, ambe. Part Nij, VTA, dummy and enders. Acting on other animate nouns. Dummy and enders. And we got the sign up. Make sure to write these down before we move on. Dummy end is a final that is used to act on other animate nouns. These words usually start with a VAI word and sometimes a VTA word, and then add a dummy end to form a new VTA. Usually, E sounds followed by the dummy end final will morph together to form an AAZH ending. There will be other changes to be on the lookout for. So for example, Noki is a VAI, meaning she or he works. Noki plus our dummy end will make nokaj, work on someone. So we can see here, this is one of our exceptions. Biskau is a VTA, wears someone. Biskau plus our dummy end suffix will form biskoj, dress someone in something. So again, this is another example of an exception to our rule. All right, let's pause here, give you a chance to write these down before moving on. Miskoye, ambe. We have another slide here where you should write down all the points before we move on. Bindige, she or he enters. Bindige plus our end suffix. Bindigaj, bring someone inside. Gittige, she or he plants. Gittige plus our end suffix becomes gittigaj, plant someone. Jibakwe, she or he is cooking. Jibakwe plus our end suffix. Jibakwaj, cook someone. Mge, she or he barks. Mge plus our end suffix. Mgij, bark at someone. Nike, she or he forgets. Nike plus our end suffix. Nikaj, forget someone. Jishagwe, she or he vomits. Jishagwe plus our end suffix. Jishagwaj, vomit on someone. Then we have our noun ke, make or gather a noun. So noun ke plus our end suffix will become noun kaj, makes someone into a noun. For example, Jonya ke, she or he makes money. Jonya ke plus our end suffix. Jonya kaj, make money off someone. Make sure to write these down before we move on. We'll give you a chance to pause here. Miskoye, ambe. Part nswe, VTA glottal stop enders. Cause animate nouns to act or cause animate nouns to be. Glottal stop finals. Our previous end final express acting on another animate noun. Our next final glottal stop expresses making or causing another animate noun to do an action. A way to illustrate the difference is to examine how both of our finals build on the initial jig. Jig plus n, jigij, mbibis ngi jignig, my baby peed on me. Jig plus our glottal stop, jig e. In which goe ngi piche zega, gi jigug. I scared my friends so much, I made them pee. Here are the 2 points for you to write down your notes before we move on. Please pause the video here and write these down before moving on. Miskoye, ambe. Now we have our sign up to write down all these points for your notes. These verbs can start sometimes with an adjective-like initial morpheme or a VAI word, and then include our glottal stop final to form a new VTA. Usually, if a morpheme ends in a W sound when followed by a glottal stop final, the W will change to a double O and then a glottal stop. One of the examples that deviates in pattern is the following. Bape, is a VEI, she or he is laughing. Bape plus our glottal stop means bape, laugh at someone instead of making someone laugh. Instead of making someone laugh, this one directs you to laugh at someone. Make sure to write down all these points before moving on. We'll give you a chance to pause here before moving on. Miskoye, ambe. So we have our sign up to make sure that we write these down again. Makadeo, black or dark. Makadeo plus glottal stop. Mkadeo make someone dark or black. Gina, long or tall. Gina plus glottal stop. Gnoo, make someone long or tall. Gijo, warm. Gijo plus our glottal stop. Gijo, make or dress someone warmly. Gaje, she or he's ashamed or embarrassed. Gaje plus glottal stop. Gaje, make someone embarrassed or ashamed. Bz, for she or he's driving or flying. Bz plus glottal stop. Bz, make someone drive or fly. Mwe, she or he is crying. Mwe plus our glottal stop will make mo, make someone cry. Noki means she or he works. Noki plus our glottal stop will form nokie, make someone work. Bumuse, she or he walks. Bumuse plus glottal stop. Bumuse, make someone walk. Biskonye, she or he gets dressed. Biskonye plus glottal stop. Biskonye, make someone get dressed. Zage means love or stingy. Zage plus glottal stop. Zage, love or be stingy with someone. Make sure to write these down before we move on. We'll give you a chance to pause here. Miskoye, ambe. Part Nawin VTA Mao enders. Doing actions for other animate nouns. Mao finals. And we have the sign up. Make sure to write these down. Mao final is our last for today's lesson, and it expresses doing an action for another animate noun. For this morpheme, we can start with an initial morpheme, but it is more common and easier to use existing VTA words, and then add Mao to add further variety to our VTA words. Initial morpheme example, akanote means translate. Akanote plus Mao. Akanote Mao, translate for someone. An interesting change is when a VTA M ender is followed by the Mao final. The M changes to an ND sound before the additional final. So for example, ganawabum is our M ender. Look at someone. And so we can see here that when we have ganawabum plus Mao, we're going to change that first M sound to an ND sound and then add Mao. Ganawabund Mao, look at it for someone. Make sure to write these down before we move on. Pause the video here. Miskoye, ambe. We have the sign up again. Make sure to write these down. Apugish, throw someone. Apugish plus Mao. Pugid Mao, throw it for someone or throw it to someone. Bij means bring someone. Bij plus Mao. Bid Mao, bring it to or for someone. Bin degaj, VTA means bring someone inside. Bin degaj plus Mao. Bin degud Mao, bring something in for someone. Na boaj, read someone. Na boaj plus Mao. Na boad Mao, read something to or for someone. Gaj means hide someone. Gaj plus Mao. God Mao, hide something for someone. Bin clean someone. Bin plus T plus Mao. Bin to Mao, clean something for someone. No, point at someone. No plus Mao. No Mao, point at it for someone. Pakiteo, hit someone. Pakiteo plus Mao. Pakite Mao, hit something for someone. Ganjwebin, push someone. Ganjwebin plus Mao. Ganjweb the Mao, push it for someone. Dekun, take hold of someone. Dekun plus Mao. Dekun Mao, take hold of a thing for someone. Make sure to write these down in your notes before we move on. I'll give you a chance to pause here. Miskoye, ombe. Lesson recap. Morphology is the study of word formation and understanding how prefixes, suffixes, and morphemes affect their meaning. Nishnaabemwin words are formed with either 2 to 3 morphemes or root words. Initial morphemes are descriptive and adjective-like in nature, referring to physical traits. Medial morphemes are reserved for nouns and can refer to orientation related to natural objects, so being stick-like, blanket-like, liquid-like by hand, etc. Final morphemes determine the type of verb, VII, VAI, VTI, VTA, ender, or theme. We learned about how syncopation is alternating stress patterns. We learned how sounds change based on assimilation. Sounds change based on what follows because of tongue placement. We learned that an final refers to thought or feeling towards another animate noun. We learned that our dummy n final refers to acting on another animate noun. We learned that our glottal stop final refers to making another animate noun do an action of some kind. We learned that our dummy n final refers to acting on another animate noun. Misae aja migach basinduyeg. That's it for now. Thank you for listening to me.